First of all, on how our season went, everybody on our team scored a goal this year. That is amazing for your first year of hockey. Everybody got the puck. Second of all, by the end of the year, positional play, you guys were excellent at knowing your position, where to be. Offsides, that's the hardest thing to learn as a hockey player. You guys picked it up like that, and were the best team at it for knowing when you were offside, when to clear the zone, and when it was time to go back in again. It was really good watching you guys do that. Another thing was getting the puck out of our end, using the boards. There was no other team that used the boards like you guys did. You used it every time, and you started right from the very first game we played. You guys were using the boards. So as a coaching staff, we're really proud of you. Also, if you looked at our team stats, we had the best goals against average in the league. We gave up the fewest number of goals at any team in the league. That's really good. Also, we only lost one game all year in Newcastle, and that was against Mariposa in our tournament. They were an older team, a bigger team, and we held them in right from near the end. So way to go. We were the A champs in Norwood.
Just good video of the kids.
And we beat a team from Peterborough that had some really good skaters, and everybody gave it their all. 8 finalists in our own tournament in Newcastle. Right after Christmas, everybody was tired and full of food from Christmas, and you guys came out and played your hearts out all day. Havelock. We were the B finalists, and there was a game we played against Tweed. We lost 10-1, but that was probably the biggest effort I've seen you guys give out all year. They were a big, strong team, and you guys played really well. And finally, we were the B champs in Division I in our own league. So way to go, guys, on a great year. Now, talking about those tournaments, we had some help. This year, we did some fundraising, we sold some chocolate bars, but then we had 2 people step up and help our team out with donations from their organizations that they work for. And at this time, we just want to acknowledge Jim and Dave for your companies, Dayton Associates, and DietWise. I want to make sure I got it right there. For your contributions to our team. Thank you very much.
No,
Next.
you're not. You're done.
You guys see us all year, the coaching staff out on the ice, but there's one person that does all the work behind the scenes, books our ice times for our tournaments, and we had the best ice times for tournaments all year. We actually had Brian Burke, that was her nickname for the coaching staff in the dressing room, for the work she did. She organized our party today. Great job, Christine. Could you just come up for a minute? Thank you very much. Another guy that couldn't make it today because he's working, but he stepped up and said he'd help out with me this year with the coaching. He was in a dangerous role, opening and closing the doors. A couple times he got a few sticks in the face and other places, but Pete Hannon couldn't make it today, so if you could give this to your dad for me, Madison. Another gentleman that stepped up when I was phoning the parents to let them know that we selected their child to be on our team. This gentleman stepped up right away. He said, "Oh, I can help out. I got my trainer's license. I can help you any way you can." He added a lot of humor to the dressing room, and he was somebody I could go to who had experience in the league. It's my first time in the league, and if I had a question, I could ask Ron, and he had an answer for me. So Ron, Coach Ron, guys, the next guy I want to talk to you about is probably the best trainer a team could ever ask for. He had the water bottles filled all the time. always at the rink on time. Had everything he needed to be a trainer. He had a medical bag that nobody else in the CRHL had. I could always go to Jim for advice. We'd send emails back and forth, and it was great having you on the staff this year, Jim. Also, what you don't know about Jim, he's not too good with direction. We had you remember the dance, the hockey dance in February? Dave had a sort of an open house at his place beforehand, and invited everybody, the parents that was coming. We're all there, and Jim and Tanya hadn't shown up yet. We're like, where are they? You know, about half an hour after everybody, Jim and Tanya come walking, and we go, you're not going to believe what I just did. Because I was coming up here, and I saw a bunch of cars in the driveway, and pulled in, walked into the house with my case of beer, opened their fridge, and started filling it up. Wrong party. So we had a lot of laughs. True story. True story. So, Jim, what I did was I Googled the directions from your house to Dave's. So I had to take those for the next party. And just thanks again for all your help. And lastly, is the guy I blamed for getting me into this position in the first place. Because when we showed up for the first practice for all the kids, the evaluation practice, I was just going to watch Jacob on the ice, and Dave and I were standing there, and Paul Schwinner, the head of all the coaches for Newcastle, says, we need a coach. Well, Dave says, if you coach, I'll help. So he was already coaching the Knights at the time, and so I said, all right. So Dave's the reason why I ended up coaching the team. Had a blast this year. When he was a lot of help, he's a AAA coach. He gave me a lot of advice on drills and everything. And Dave, I want to thank you. We've had a great friendship. It's awesome. Okay, next, the players. And the player I'm going to start with first is the person I made the mistake of forgetting when we won the B championship when we were giving out the awards. So I'm going to start with him first. Kyle Murphy, number 33. This is a player that really improved over the years. We remember Kyle, you know, the first few weeks of hockey and that, he was really struggling skating, and that his dad came to us and said, you know, what can we do to help Kyle out? He said, let's just try a simple thing of putting some tape around the ankles of his skates. And man, Kyle's skating improved like that. He scored his first goal in Norwood. Awesome goal, awesome effort. Kyle was a great defensive player. Lots of times he'd get into the boards. His ways of going into the boards were a little tricky sometimes, but he'd get in the boards and get the puck out. So, Kyle, you were one of our most improved players, so if you come up here, I'd like to give you a special medallion.
People are going to tell you you're not allowed stuff.
Come on up, Kyle. Oh, hold on just a second. I got one more thing for you. Thanks. Also here, a special certificate for you, Kyle. Yeah. All right? Here, Kyle. Okay, our next player.
They're going to kick us out. Okay?
This person, I like to say, was our energy player.
They're right there.
She's got more energy to our team. She has a laugh in the dressing room that she'd start to laugh and then get the rest of the team, and even the coaches, laugh in hysterics. She had quite the giggle to her. In our last two games in the playoffs in the B championship, I don't think she lost a face-off. She won every face-off she was in. She skated hard. Just an awesome little player. But there's one time that I'll remember the most about Madison. It was our very first tournament in Curtis. We get to the rink, we're getting ready, and Madison's got tears in her eyes. She doesn't look too happy. What's the matter? My daddy can't make it. He's at work today. Well, he'll be thinking about you, and you've tried hard. So we played our first game, and she just didn't have the jump that I'd seen in Mike and at the practices. second game, we're getting ready to go out on the ice. Her mom comes up and says, Steve's on his way. Okay, we won't tell her. So we get on the ice, they're skating around, she comes on the bench, Steve comes walking around, comes up, taps her on the shoulder, eyes light up, Daddy's here. What does she do the next shift? Goes out and scores her first goal when Daddy was there. So, Madison, again, the way you played the last few games, you are one of our most improved players, so I want to give you this special medal. It was a pleasure coaching you, and here's a special certificate as well. Okay, our next player,
Because you're not allowed. Do you see any other
I called him
kids
our
standing
little
over there?
bulldog at our final game. He's also our little Chuck Liddell. I said, what a cool haircut. And he says, I'm a little Chuck Liddell in the dressing room. I'll never forget Carson's first goal he scored. It was in Newcastle. I believe we were playing the other Newcastle team. When that puck went in the net, I swear his dad would have jumped over the glass when that puck went in the net. He was so excited to see that goal scored. Carson also was the first goalie to receive a shutout for our team. And to show, you know, we watch the kids out there and we see them and they look 10 years older when they're on the ice with their helmets on. The tournament in Norwood, Carson scored a hat trick. And I said, he came off the ice and I said, Carson, way to go, you got a hat trick. And he says to me, well, what's a hat trick? It just shows the innocence of kids at this age that that's 3 goals, way to go. So Carson, another one of our improved players, come on up, bud. Good job. Okay, our next player. We actually have been given 5 special trophies this year, have been donated to our team, and we've selected 5 players to receive these trophies. The next player I'm going to talk about was one of our underagers this year. He should have been in Mike, but he was called up to play minor type this year. Turned out probably to be the perfect stay-at-home defenseman. We knew if he got the puck, he was going to get it off the boards and get it out of our end. He still hasn't spoke yet. I think he was the quietest person in our dressing room. Doesn't show much emotion either. He also scored his first goal in Norwood. And for that, he's going to be one of our most improved players, most improved defensemen. Sean Imlach, did you come up here?
year too on the bench.
I will give you that certificate and that special trophy. Way to go, Sean. Okay. Our next player, probably the hardest thing about a player is when your dad's the coach. Sorry. One of the reasons I didn't want to coach was because my son. The hardest thing about being a coach when your son's on the team is when you're to be a dad or a coach. You always remind me when I had to do my job as a coach. And I'll never forget the game in Newcastle where he scored 2 goals and was the hardest worker. Jacob Robinson, come on up. I need a beer.
You are in the dressing room too.
Yeah, are you ready? Thanks.
Come on. Yeah.
Okay.
recording this, so
Our next
park it
player
like the rest of the game.
excelled in every position that we put him in. Played two very strong games in net for us this year. I remember a game in Bowmanville. It was his first game in net. He ended up winning the hardest worker of the game award, and his dad was making every save as he was making the save when we watched him in net. He scored one of the first goals for our team in Curtis of the season, scored in the first game. And for that, Alex, I'm going to give you the most sportsmanlike player for all the positions you've played this year. No hesitation. We're going on up, Alex. Good job.
Probably not.
Okay, our next player. This player was probably the most ultimate team player on our team. He played every position and played it well. I'll never forget the game we were in Havelock. We were losing 10-0. We're playing the Tweed team. Nobody had scored on Tweed. This fella scored the only goal on Tweed in the whole tournament. Then there's another game I won't forget about this player. We were playing in our tournament in Havelock. We were doing pretty good. The other team came down and scored a goal on Ashley. I watched this player. He skates down to Ashley after all the players, skated away, and I see him talking to her. Their shift's over, comes up, and I said, "What'd you say to Ashley?" I told her she's a much better goalie than I am, and I wouldn't have been able to make that save. So for that, Keith, you're being awarded most sportsmanlike and most dedicated for our team. So hold on up. Here you go, Keith. Okay. Eric, wait. This year. Okay. Our next player who will receive one of our special trophies is the man with elbows like Gordie Howe. Anybody that's watched the video from our Newcastle tournament will know where that saying came from. Probably the most solid defenseman we saw all year against any team we played against. He could skate with the puck or shadow the best player on the team. It didn't matter what we asked, he could do it. He'd shut down the best players on the other team. I remember a game against the Bowmanville team with number 8 Gallagher on it. It was near the beginning of the year. Eric was out against him the whole game and shadowed that kid the whole game. Got that player frustrated, so he took a penalty. And it's hard for Eric not to take a penalty. We have our little saying before the game, keep it clean, right, Eric? He was also part of probably the biggest hit of the year. Only thing was, he didn't dish it out. He received it from a knee from a referee in Norwood. I've never seen a player run into somebody as hard as Eric did into that referee. He jumped back up and finished his shift, but came off and he was hurt. And I also want to thank Jim Camers that day for the work he did, his experience of being a nurse and a good trainer, making sure Eric was all right to play, because he was pretty groggy after that game. He also scored a memorable goal in our final game with a shot from the blue line in his very first shift. So, Eric, we want to give you a special trophy. Come on up. Here's your certificate, Eric. saw it. Usually during a game, he'd be on the bench, he'd turn up to me, and he'd give me a thing, let me know how the game was going. Remember our game in Havelock, our final game? He turns up to me and says, Coach Dave, these guys are really big, and I don't think we're going to be able to beat them. He also scored his first goal in the tournament in our second game. He just slapped it into the net from the slot and just made it look like another day at the office. Our most sportsmanlike player, Cooper Stone. There you go, Coop.
I just keep switching.
Okay, our next player is also going to receive a special trophy today. Also, the other underager on our team who was originally signed up for Mites and was called up to fill a position in the minor type ranks. He became a very solid defenseman. His skating improved immensely over the years. And I'll never forget a play in our last game in Newcastle. Last shift, he stood a guy up on the blue line and knocked him flat. He also received the Hardest Worker Award. It was an example where you don't have to score goals or get any assists to be the hardest worker on our team. He didn't get an assist, he didn't get a goal that game, but he still received the Hardest Worker Award because of the way he played his position. So we have a special award for Most Improved Player, number 10, Cole Cottom.
I know, but I said no, okay? You can give Daddy a hug all you want when we go home. Okay, this is Carmen's hockey thing. Okay, so you can stand back.
Okay, our next player. I don't think we can talk enough about this player and what he did for our team this year. He was our go-to guy all year. Right from our very first game, we knew we had somebody special on our team. He could play wherever and however we asked him. If I asked him to shadow a player, he'd shadow a player. If I asked him to play defense and dump it up, he could dump it up. Or I just have to give the simple words, green light, and he knew what that meant. Every coach wishes they had a player like this. I was fortunate to have one. He's quiet. I don't think he realizes his potential. He's a true team player and always looked out for what was best for the team. When he had the puck, nobody could skate faster than Jason Cavers. And for that, we are giving Jason Cavers a special award for our most offensive player. Our next player always gave it her all when she was on the ice at our practices or their games. By the end of the season, she was one of our best players along the boards to get the puck. She scored her first goal and was our first hardest worker of the game in our first game in Curtis. There's one game that stands out for me. Was the game back, I think it was January or February, we were playing in Curtis. Carmen had been sick for a good 2 weeks. She missed a full week of school, but wanted to play hockey on Saturday. She came to the game, gave it her all. She had been sick for a good 2 weeks, gave it her all, and was our hardest worker of the game that game for the effort she gave us. So, Carmen, before that, I'm giving you the most dedicated player award. Okay, our last player I'm going to talk about was number 17 at the beginning of the year, but then she she pretty much, graduated to being number one. She was the best goalie that we saw all year, the best goalie in the league. I was glad she was on our team. The Newcastle tournament, they couldn't get anything past her. She never got down when a goal was scored on her. Even though the tournament in the Havelock, we were getting bad, she still kept smiling, and she still got in there and made the saves. She was a big league goalie in big games. When the games were important, she made the big saves. And after our games, the number of coaches that would come up to me and parents would say, "Wow, what a great goalie you guys got." So for that, we have a special award for our most defensive player, Ashley and Max. Come on up, Ashley. Good job. Okay. I have one more special award to give out today. For those of you that don't know, there was a very special moment in our second last game of the year in Newcastle. Christine called me last week and she, "What do you think about acknowledging this special moment?" We both agreed it could not go unnoticed. There was a goal scored by one of our players in the second last game in Newcastle. And when he scored, he gave a little fist pump. This was very unusual for this player because every time he scored a goal, he'd just turn around, came back to his position and get ready for the face-off. He never showboated when he scored a goal. He just did his job out there. When he did that fist pump, he did something special had happened. This player does not like a lot of attention, but today we think we should honor this player. Only a few of us noticed the fist pump, and only a few knew what had happened. You hear about these things happening, but you don't often get to see it. That fist pump was done by Jacob Havers, who scored his 100th goal that day. So at this time, we want to honor Jacob for his special accomplishment on April 2nd, 2009. Come on up. Lastly, I just want to thank all the parents for your work. You're the reason why we're here today. You're the ones who get the kids up at 6 o'clock in the morning for our 7 a.m. practice. Buy them their chocolate donut or their chocolate bar, whatever it is to give them their energy for 7 a.m. So kids, let's give our moms and dads a round of applause for their help this year. Just a reminder, we still have our banquet next Saturday at the Newcastle Town Hall, and it's at 12:30, I believe. 12:30 is minor time, and registration will be at that time as well for the following season. So, with that, that's Dave.
That's right. I didn't want to fling it all over the place.